A few weeks ago, I had the absolute pleasure to sit down with Richard and Michelle, who are board members of the American Blind Skiing Foundation. The ABSF was founded in 1971 and is focused on three things: safety, fun, and learning. They offer an educational skiing experience to any blind or visually impaired person, and I was so excited when ABSF reached out to me because, as many of you already know, I'm passionate about spreading the sport to as many people as possible, and that's exactly what this organization is doing. That said, let's dive into our chat and learn more about this fantastic organization.
Let's start with Rich. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. It's been a long week, but I'm excited for the ski season about to start. So,
yeah, absolutely. And before we dive into ABSF, why don't you just tell me a little bit about your background and how you got involved with, obviously, this awesome organization?
well, I am 26 years old. I got involved with ABSF about, I want to say probably like 20 years ago or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very young, and my dad had brought me to one of ABSF's events, and they actually taught me how to ski. I've kind of just been like hooked ever since. So I love doing outdoor activities and stuff like that. So skiing was like kind of right there for me. I loved it.
And help my viewers understand a little bit about what your organization does for those that have never heard of it before, and what makes it so special and unique.
Well, ABSF basically teaches blind and visually impaired athletes how to ski, and then we take them obviously on ski events, and they're with a trained guide who helps them down the mountains and stuff like that, and helps them avoid obstacles, and kind of gives blind and visually impaired people the opportunity to participate in, an event that most people would say wouldn't be possible for a blind and visually impaired person. So it's a really awesome organization in that way, and it's really cool to have these type of people around us who support us and allow us to do something like this.
Now, I want to turn attention over to Michelle or Mitch. How long have you been with this organization? Tell me how you kind of got involved with everything going on with that as well.
Okay, so I have not been around as long as Richard has, but my history goes back a bit with ABSF because a good friend of mine's mom actually skied with our founder and was connected with the founder, Sammy Scoble. And I always admired what she did, but was not a very good skier at the time. Fast forward, got to be a better skier. I'm wandering around the Windy City ski show, and the current president, a lady who was the current president and a guide, were in a booth there, chatted me up, gave me her personal cell phone. Please, 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 we need more women in the organization. And so I brought the information home, and my husband and I decided that we were going to join up and become guides that year. And then the following year, I joined the board of directors. I've held the position of secretary, treasurer, and president. And I am now secretary again, along with some other committee initiatives.
Now, are either of you visually impaired or have gone through this process?
I'm visually impaired. Okay,
got you. So Rich, tell me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, I think the first thing that I kind of asked is how is this even possible? As crazy as it sounds, I'm sure a lot of my viewers kind of feel that way too. Is just, what does that feel like, and how does it start?
Basically, how it begins, mostly what ends up happening is a guide gets assigned to a skier. We kind of do a little bit of background into researching, the skier's level and all of that, and pair them off based on that and their needs. And then what happens is the guide and the skier will meet up, and they'll discuss, what the skier's capabilities are in terms of vision and all that sort of thing. And then the skier also will say hey, this is how I like to be guided. This is how I'm used to it and stuff. So the guide will try to work with that. And honestly, when I first did it, it was really scary, actually, especially going so fast, down a hill with trees and other people, which is the most scary part. But after a while, you get used to it. You learn to really rely on your guide and trust them, and trust that they know where they're taking you. And so it's kind of an awesome feeling once you get past that barrier of yes, I trust this person in knowing what they're doing and that they're going to take care of me and have my best interests at heart. Then it's just super freeing. I mean, you can just go and just relax. You get that feeling that I think everyone who's skied or snowboard knows, is that just gliding feeling and being in nature. And it's actually really awesome. So
that's a great segue. So Mitch, I mean, explain that process from the other side of things, and how kind of rewarding and awesome that is probably to see firsthand and be able to like guide somebody through the experience that we all know and love is skiing.
The majority of our skiers have less vision or are totally blind. Guiding them, and we're almost, so you can't really reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
But imagine their tails to your tips.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're pretty close. You're right there.
Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would be dangerously close if you weren't trained. So our training, Matthew, is not just guides. Our training is also our skiers. Okay.
Gotcha.
So Richard had mentioned earlier, skiers have different preferences, and the guides do try to work and cater to the individual's needs. That's one of the things that makes us unique. But the thing is there are there's some general framework on some general commands that we work within. The right turn, left turn. The reason we say it that way is so the skier can prepare for the direction in which they're going to go. Another standard within the group is we work with a clock face. So your 12 o'clock, imagine your 12 o'clock is in front of you, and I bring you to the top of the slope. I can say downhill is to your 9 o'clock, and you know it's to your left. And then the perfect guiding position is uphill and behind your skier. Mm-hmm. And by staying uphill and behind your skier, you can see what's in front of your skier and you're also blocking them from behind, from somebody that would come up and blindside them and maybe not see. One of the reasons we try to stay close, we have bright orange vests that say blind skier and guide.
Yep.
That doesn't always mean a lot to people. Even though you, being an experienced skier, might think, oh, I don't know what that is, but that's definitely a sign of caution, and I should stay away from that. Not everyone out there, especially in the Midwest, is a skilled skier. And the worst thing in the world is to have somebody split you and your skier.
Oh,
that is the worst panicked feeling in the world, and you can't panic, you've got to recover from it. Another aspect, and a sometimes tricky aspect, is getting on and off the lift.
Oh, I can imagine. It's something I didn't even think about until you mentioned that. And
so for me, the guiding was, I don't want to say easy, but
right,
it's not what got my anxiety level up. What got my anxiety level up when I was a beginner was the chairlift. The chairlift, on and off, right? Wow. So to give you an example, so now we're in the lift line, and I'm either got locked arms or hands, with because I'm short, so I tend to grab their hand and lock it into the side of my chest, and then I can control someone who's taller than me much easier. So we position them between the chairlift operator and ourselves. Okay. We describe what kind of lift. Is there a pole in the middle? Is it detachable? We position them in front of the lift, and then we say, chair in 3, 2, 1. And when we say 1 is when they sit. And when we sit. Now, as the guide, you must be continually facing your skier. So the other side of the lift, the pole or whoever's sharing the lift, with you, that's all behind you. And you're making sure your skier is on and safe, sitting back before somebody puts the bar down. And you get to the top of the hill just when your nerves calm down. And then you got to redo. You get to the top of the hill, right? And you give them advance warning again. You say, hey, we're 3 chairs back, 2 chairs back. Okay. Yeah. Ready. Bar up. And you let them know you're putting the bar up because you don't want them to be in the way of the bar, going through. Right? Yep. And then again, gripping them that way, you're saying touchdown in 3, 2, 1, and you keep holding on to them till you hit the back side of that landing, and then you say stand up right when you hit the back side, so then you can both slide down. Slide down, yeah. Yes.
Mitch, tell me about a time I'm sure you have several, a moment that maybe was very special to you, maybe very special to your, whoever, you were instructing or guiding at that particular time. Just give me something that you've experienced that, could be a great jumping off point for somebody that's either looking to get involved for the volunteering side of things or looking to start the process as a skier.
First of all, I'd like to say that you have no idea how much of an honor and thrill it is to be in a position where you can enable someone to do something that you are passionate about. There is no helping. These are very independent individuals, and their passion for skiing is just like mine is. And to be able to be in a position where I can enable them to do that is amazing. Beyond amazing. I mean, if somebody needs convincing why to join to be a guide, I can give that experience to them. There is one story in particular. As I said, we do encourage families, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers to guide. Okay. Mm-hmm. They can just come ski with us, but they can also learn how to guide. A couple years back, there was a family that had joined us. Their son was probably about 15 years old, and mom and dad decided they wanted to learn how to guide. And then the following year, their brother, who had previously been away at college, came out to learn how to guide. And she reached out to me one year. She said they were vacationing in Colorado with her brother's family. Mm-hmm. And could they borrow some ABSF vests so they could all go out on the slopes together? Mm-hmm. So I got her the vests, and it just so happened that my husband, Eugene, and I were out there at the same time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we offered to come and guide their son so they could explore the mountain.
Okay.
The whole mountain, wherever they wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
And have some alone time as a couple and all that. Well, we ended up spending 3 entire days with them.
Wow.
Because they had never guided on a big mountain.
Uh-huh.
And he had never free skied before. So we taught them how to guide and allow their son to free ski. Where
That's
you're
crazy.
Not calling those turns, where you're flanking.
Yeah.
And keeping them safe. And it brought chills. So like I said, we spent 3 days with them, had lunch, everything. We were there from morning till afternoon. We all had such a great time. And that's when it hit me is this is what we do. This is part of what we're about. Even as these kids go on to college and maybe move somewhere else, as like you have in your life, and they can't be with us here and ski with us, they will be able to continue to ski because they've learned and they can go as a family. And now when his friends come, his mom and dad and his brother can, teach his friends, and it just keeps paying itself forward. Yeah. And that was one of the most special experiences I've ever had.
I want to go back to Rich really quick. And Rich, obviously it sounds like, this whole process it's you learn skiing, right? But I think that from what I'm picking up, there's a lot more to it than just that. Can you kind of elaborate maybe on some of the stuff that there's crossover between just skiing and riding, and, and how does this impact your life outside of just the skiing realm of things?
Yeah, it definitely does have like a very large impact on your life. I think for a lot of people, hugely helpful in general, and it's getting yourself out there and doing things that you never expected you would be doing. It's really important as like a visually impaired or blind person to get out there and experience these things, because from experience and having friends as well, sometimes it's pretty easy to get kind of stuck in a rut as a blind or visually impaired person and say, well, I can't do that. I obviously can't participate in that, so I'm just gonna, stay here and do whatever. So I think in that way too, it really helps you kind of broaden your horizons as visually impaired or blind person and say, no, you know what, like, I'm not going to let people say I can't do this, or I'm not going to let myself say I can't do it. I'm just going to go out there and do it and find people to help me who are crazy enough to help me do it, and let's go,
I mean, how does that feel to literally be to take something that, you know, you would ask, I would say like 99% of people on the street and be like, visually impaired person skiing, and they would look at you like, I don't think so. How does that feel to like do that and be not only just okay at it, but to be good at it and like to actually be successful at skiing and be able to enjoy yourself on the hill? Like,
I don't know, like it's just an amazing feeling. It's kind of like, you know, the feeling the first time you got on a skis or snowboard, and it's just, you know, that fresh feeling of like, oh my gosh, like when you really nail it too, you know, like when you're really just you had a great run, you just crushed it, you're going down smooth, you're making the right moves, you're in the proper form, and everything's just going together, the snow's perfect, and you get to the bottom, you're like, this is why I love this. It sounds so different to people when they hear it because it's blind and visually impaired skiing, but I think it hits home in a lot of the same places that everyone else the reason everyone else kind of enjoys skiing and snowboarding.
I totally agree. Like when you're saying all this stuff, right? Like it's exactly the way I feel and how I think everybody that, you know, follows my stuff and knows that and feels and to be able to open that experience up for everybody and it's so awesome and so refreshing, and I'm so happy that, you know, you're able to experience that, and I hope more people can. So that said, how does somebody with, you know, with a visual impairment or somebody that is blind that wants to get into this, how do they get into that?
Basically, what my job in the recent years has been is really trying to get more exposure for us, and in that sense, make it more available to people who are blind and visually impaired. Because I think awareness is the biggest thing. It's hard for people to join something they don't know about, obviously. So really, I've been trying to get us to boost up our Facebook presence, you know, in social media in general, so that when, you know, a blind or visually impaired person comes across this, they have the opportunity to then log on, go to our website, you know, get a little more information, or our Facebook, and then they can just email us or message us if they want to get in contact. And so I'm totally fine with people, you know, shooting me texts or phone calls and asking me, hey, how do I get involved in this? And that's really what it's all about, is giving this opportunity to as many blind and visually impaired people as possible.
So my next question for Mitch would be, how would somebody that would be looking to get into the volunteering aspect and get involved in that side of things, what would be the next step for them?
Pretty much what Richard said, social media, we've got our website, call myself or one of the other officers. That's, you know, our phone numbers are listed on the website. Some people feel more comfortable with that. And you know who I find feels more comfortable with that, Matthew, is parents. And then come out, join us for our guide clinic. We're not sure how that's going to go this year, what it's going to look like, but we're doing that in January. We also do a meet and greet typically in October or November. Unfortunately, this year that's going online, you know, due to COVID and the restrictions. But one more thing I'd like to mention is the financial aspect.
Yes.
Skiing is an expensive sport. And one of the things I've done, for at least 9 years now is the fundraising chair.
Yeah.
And this is outside of donations or grants or anything like this. It's fundraising, and we do a pig roast.
Okay.
We make all the food. There's a German club, the Dona Schwaben of Des Plaines, that we have a live band, raffles, auctions, that kind of thing. So that's a big bulk of how we raise our money. And the reason we need to raise that much money is because, first of all, if you're a first timer, come out and try it, no charge.
Really? Wow. Awesome.
Try it for free. So on a day trip, but you know, Wilmot, Alpine, whatever, come on out, try it. We'll cover your rentals, we'll cover your lift ticket, we'll have an instructor for you and a backup guide.
That's awesome. Okay.
So that the instructor can focus on you. So given the fact that it is a scary thing to do, that helps to build a little bit more confidence, and it eases the financial responsibility. We also, for students, full-time students, we subsidize everyone, right?
Okay.
And our guides are either comped or heavily subsidized because they're volunteering their own time. Service veterans and students, we extend an additional subsidy to.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there are, we try to remove the financial restrictions
Yeah, as much as
of the
possible.
sport.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I mean, it's phenomenal to be able to try it. And it is a sport that isn't for everybody, and it might not work. So that's a great option for somebody that wants to get out there, give it a try, and especially this year and in the future when we're looking for new and exciting ways to get outdoors and escape from everying that's going on right now.
Right.
It could be a great option. Well,
I'd
guys,
like to thank you, Matthew.
well, I was going to say I'm going to thank you guys, but
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on here.
yeah, no, this is great, and thank you to you guys for taking the time. I mean, I know we live busy lives, so to sit down with me for an hour to just chat about this stuff, and like I said, ultimately, I think we're all in the same boat here. We just want to get more exposure for programs like you guys that need it, and honestly are doing so many great things in the community and for the ski industry that need to be shared. So I really thank you guys for taking the time. I look forward to coming out and meeting you guys and seeing this process in person. I honestly can't wait. I got I'm so excited. So hopefully I'll see you guys this winter. We'll kind of determine when the schedule is finalized and all that fun stuff. Yeah, thanks again for doing this.
So if you want to learn more about ABSF and how you can help them continue their mission of sharing skiing to more blind and visually impaired people, be sure to head on over to the links I'll drop below. I'm also very excited to do a more polished piece with them this upcoming season, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and like all of our pages so you don't miss that. But until next time, I hope all of you guys have a great week, stay safe, and I'll see you guys out there.